Good morning and welcome into the Pats Nation. I'm Corso. Catone is here. Joe's with us in the booth. You are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast, anywhere you podcast. And make sure you're on YouTube. Give us that like, subscribe, give us that thumbs up, and leave us a comment. Or you can give us a call in heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S, message line 24/7. Leave a message. Joe may pick one. Let's hope it's yours. Have a take, or you can email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Got a good one today in Patriots play on Monday night, play tomorrow night. So we're still going to preview that game, and we're going to talk Drake Mania, break down his game and what he needs to do. Looks like it's going to be Dart in that game, Mark, so we'll see how that's going to go.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be Dart.
And then we're going to go into Pat's preview and talk our offensive and defensive keys to victory, talk a little coaching as well. And coaching corner, we're going to get in there, talk about the coach about this team, and are they in desperate need of a bye? We will discuss that. And, of course, Sunday spread. We're going to make you a little bit of money. Oh, God, I'm so irritated over those damn friggin' Thanksgiving games. Detroit pisses me off. Philadelphia pisses me off, man. You guys use those team and teases. But we'll have some new picks for you for this weekend. So, good morning. Good morning. Hi, guys.
Hey, listen, looking forward to one more game and then a bye week, Chris. We need the bye week desperately, right?
Yeah.
Really
how was Thanksgiving, gentlemen?
Oh, wonderful. I'm so sick. I cough and sneeze. Yeah, wonderful.
Very thankful.
Very thankful. Thankfully, you're not sick like he is.
Ah.
You know? Well, were you able to eat, or was it just...
I ate.
You know? How about you, Joe? You were up in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
middle of nowhere, cut off from the world.
Parts unknown.
Our own turkey sort of situation. Yeah, no, it's great. Great time, great food, great people.
Well, I hope everybody out there had a nice time and a nice turkey day. Watched a lot of football, family, food, all of those, the Fs, all the F words that you can come up with for that game. But now it's football time. Okay, and we got one more to get through before we can get to a much needed bye. Yeah. And they, of course, play the New York Giants, come to town on Monday Night Football, a throwback week, going to play their old logos and all that other good stuff. And we want to break it down, and we're going to start with the quarterback like we always do. We're going to do it in Drake Mania. We're going to do it right now.
Limiting, just probably, admittedly, not his best performance, but give them credit, and I think he came up big with some good throws, and I'm sure there was a couple that he'd like to have back.
Sometimes just not trusting it and just gotta let it go. That's when I'm throwing it best and on time and feeling the best. So I know I wasn't very accurate early on, and found a groove, and just head back to the basics.
So Mark, that of course was Vrabel in May discussing his performance against the Bengals last week, which wasn't good in the first quarter.
No.
But let me ask you a question. I asked you yesterday on Corso Catone. You see this, is it a glass half full, half empty? He starts off poorly, has a bad first quarter, bounces back, plays well, obviously made a lot of great throws in this game, under the circumstances. So how do you look at that? Do you look at that and say, well, glass full, glass empty, he bounced back?
Well, As I answered it yesterday, Chris, I kind of saw it a little bit of both, but now that I've kind of thought about it a little bit longer, so I'm gonna say I'm a glass full, where he did bounce back, Chris. He made adjustments, settled in. He looked horrific the opening 10 minutes of that game, but he settled in, made plays, went back to his comfort zone. Started looking for the tight end, looking for Hunter Henry, some check downs, settled in, made a couple of throws to receivers, not many, but he did right the ship, Chris, and they got the victory, right? And the thing about you want out of your quarterback when you're not playing your best game. He can still will you to a win, right? And he kind of did that, right? Which is what you expect out of a franchise quarterback. So he did what guys like Mahomes and Allen do. You're not playing your best. It's you're not at the top of your game today. But you know what? We're gonna do enough to get the win and get the hell out of here. And that's what good teams and good quarterbacks do, right? So I'm gonna look at it as at that from that lens.
What I can't figure out, and I'm trying to understand what's happening to him at the beginning of these games.
Yeah.
Because it is not just a one-off. We've seen this now this season where he's coming into these games, and at the beginning of the game, he's just off. I mean, and last game, that Cincinnati game, he was really off.
Oh, no, he was really, really off. Yeah,
I mean,
really off.
The way the ball was coming out of his hand and how it was traveling through the air and some of the reads and the things that pick six he threw was
the pick six. Chris, I don't know what he read.
How he's throwing, how trying to deliver that ball. So I'm with you. I mean, I'm the fact that he can forget so easily, and it's. I'm not saying forget easily. I don't think nobody forgets. Believe me. I mean, that sits in the back of your head when you make those kind of bonehead mistakes. But the fact that he can get rid of it, and have that short memory and put it aside.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. Coming out of the pick six, didn't he take them right down the field? And was that when he threw the touchdown pass to Henry?
I think so. It was that. I would think it was that next drive. I want to say it was the next drive or the one after that. Yeah, okay. that he did that. And so I mean, like I said, I mean, he ended the game well. What was he? 22 or 35 for 294 yards. Still can't get that 300-yard game. But 294 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Could have had another touchdown. It was a penalty. Got called back for it. Questionable one too, in my opinion. But. So again, so we fast forward to today. Now we're going to talk later on in the show in Coach's Corner about how desperate is this team in need of a bye. I think this is the kid. This kid is in need of a bye. You can see, and again, I'm not making excuses or being an apologist for him or any of that. I'm just saying when I look at his face, when I looked at his face in that first quarter, I came out off the sideline. Dude looks tired. He looks drawn, beat down, like it's going. The processing. I mean, these guys have been together for 11 weeks or whatever craziness it's been straight. Since camp with not really a break. They had that little mini one, but that's pretty much it. So now, when it comes to today, okay, how he's going to handle this team because we're trying to get through this game and get to the bye. And you definitely. Get through this game and become 11-2. So, looking at what is in front of him, Mark, they're facing another good front. They're facing a front. You're talking Burns, Lawrence, Carter. I mean, this is a good defensive front that can get pressure and good edge guys. They can get
pressure, Chris, but they're one of the worst run defensive teams in the league.
They are, and we're going to talk about that. And when we get the keys to victory in Pat's preview, we're going to discuss what they need to do in the run game, and that's going to have to get a lot better. But with May, because now you got your starting left tackles out, you're going to rely on Verdarian Lowe, and now you're dealing with these edge guys, and he's got a little more motivation though now. This week, Drake May is going to have a little bit extra motivation because of this kind of thing from Brian Burns.
I feel like at times he's so caught up in, making the right play or, getting so caught up in his routes downfield, he just forgets about somewhat of who's rushing him, if that makes sense. By poise, it could be a bad thing, could be a good thing. But what I mean by poise is that he takes his time, that he makes the right reads, and he tries to make the right play. It can also bite you in the butt at a certain amount of times if you got edge rushers coming and you're not really too cognitive of where they are.
That was Brian Burns, the edge guy for the edge rusher for the New York Giants, talking about Drake May when asked about Drake May's poise and how he plays, and give him some nice bulletin board. I'm sure that's circulating through that locker room right now.
Yeah,
that video, and I mean, it gives Drake May a little more push. What the hell's he talking about?
Listen, all I know is this, Chris. They're a traditional type of pass rushing team, Chris. They are very vulnerable. If Drake can leverage play action pass, Chris, in this game, they give up the most yards to play action pass in the league. It's like almost 9 yards every play against play action. So if May can do that today, Chris, Monday night, play action and read and understand what's in front of him, you can gash this team. I know the Giants have been in a lot of games, but they give up a lot of big plays too.
They do, and two things. So when I think about listening to what
because Drake has not always played well with play action, like he has struggled at times with play action
under center,
under center
stuff.
But I think,
Well, to me, listen to Burns' comments. See what I feel like. By the way, how stupid can you possibly be as a player? If I'm that coach, if I'm the coach of that team over there right now,
they're coachless. They're coachless right now.
Yeah, and by the way, that's the other thing too. When we get to Coach's Corner, we're going to talk about this. Okay, is the fear of having the interim coach and the fact that they're out to prove themselves, that defensive coordinator, every single down, every play. We're gonna see loads of crap from this team. We're gonna see lots of gimmick stuff. But anyway, what must have happened is they must have been in film, and they're showing May holding onto that ball to the last possible second before he's delivering that ball. Because May will do that. He'll sit in that pocket and he'll hold that ball until something comes open and he'll take the sack, or, he'll get hit or maybe holds it a little too long. That's what they're showing them. And basically what they're telling them in their room is, hey, guys, you're better than them. They're showing them the Cincinnati game. They're showing them the game before that. And they're saying, guys, you're better. You're better pass rushers than these guys they're playing. They're not going to have that extra half second. You're going to get there. You're going to get home. And by the way, thank you, Brian Burns, for letting us know what your coach talked about in film study and preparation for this team.
Idiot.
You
What
moron.
What an idiot.
As Patriot fans, we appreciate that, Burns, you stupid fool. So we know what their plan is then. We now know what their plan is. Take advantage of May holding the ball a little longer so McDaniels and company has that. So, Mark, in this situation with him, to me, move the pocket. Screens. I haven't seen much screens out of him.
No.
Do you think May can deliver on a screen game?
Yeah, I think he can, Chris. Listen, I think there's nothing this kid can't absorb. I just don't know if our offensive line, are we set up for the screen game, though, Chris, without the other?
We haven't been good at it this year.
That's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily Drake May. It's the other pieces that in order to run a good screen game, do we have that in place, Chris? That's the question.
Yeah, and he's, we'll see. And I think he needs to move around. I think they need to move the pocket a little more. I think you need to see some boots and you see some get away from that rush a little bit more.
Well, based on what Burns just said, Chris, you're right. I think you need to move May around a little bit more. I think you need to run some RPOs with him a little bit more. I think this is the week that you can incorporate some of that stuff that you've been talking the last couple of weeks, Chris, against this team.
And the one thing he's going to have to do that I noticed last game, he's going to have to set protections better. There was a play. It was early on in the game. Yep. He took Stevenson and he moved them from his left to his right. Okay, and they kind of had like a little bit of a zero look across the front, and then they.
I know exactly what play you're talking about.
They brought that other guy. They brought their edge guy when they moved Stevenson, and then they moved the edge guy back across to the left side of the line, and he didn't move Stevenson back. At that point, and then they ran the play and he came free, and it was pressure. Now, I don't know if Hunter Henry, I think who was sitting out there, whoever the tight end wasn't seeing the hot read where that's a free rusher. It should be hot. That means the guy that's stepping off the line needs to turn immediately, and that's where the ball's got to go. But I don't know if May's telling them that.
Yeah, I don't know if he is. I don't know.
So he needs to do a better job at pass pro. Set the protections better. See what you're seeing. You're at home. You're not going to hear any noise. because they're pitiful, pathetic people over there. Not earning noise. They better sound the way they did against the Jets, Joe. When you were there. But that's what I think. That's what I think they need to do better. He needs to do a good job in setting pass protection, and starting better. A little more focus at the beginning of the game. Get out whatever, if he needs to run the ball a little and get hit a little, Mark, right?
Yeah, I agree. You got to settle him in early in this game, Chris, and get him involved in this game early. Because
let me ask you guys this question.
by all accounts, the Giants are better than what they, than the Jets and Cincinnati without Burrow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, they had no Chase, no Hendrickson. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me ask you guys this question. I asked you this a different way a couple of weeks ago, where I start to see, in my opinion, I think that slow start pattern is coming from McDaniels, not necessarily Drake May. So how does he do what you say, have a quicker start if, let's say, those plays that McDaniels is running are these new plays that he's not necessarily comfortable with? How does he have a quicker start in that regard?
I think it's about the reads. It's about taking what they give you early, taking easy throws, safe throws, taking those check downs, hitting that back out of the backfield. When it comes to McDaniels, I'm going to talk about this in the next segment as to what McDaniels needs to do better, especially in the run game, because right now the run game's not existent and it needs to be, especially in the red zone. But just generally speaking, what May can do, take what the defense gives you. Do more of that. Don't push the ball so far down the field so quickly. Let's take that check down to Henderson, Mock, right? Let's take that check down to the tight end, yeah?
And Chris, he's been going to the check downs in the last few games. He did it against Tampa. He's done it. He did it a little bit last week. Last week, Chris, he just got off to such a bad start.
Yeah, the ball nothing looked right.
Nothing looked right. No. And I don't know what that was about.
I don't know. We saw that in the rain.
I don't know if that was McDaniels, Joe. I know what you're saying, Joe. I don't know, Chris, what that was about.
We saw that in Miami when it rained.
Yeah.
He couldn't throw the ball in the rain.
Against Tampa, yeah.
Oh, is it Tampa? Okay.
Tampa, yeah. It rained down there. Remember that opening drive or two? It was raining, and the rain stopped.
Yeah,
he
just
couldn't. Awful.
Yeah, that's kind of how he looked. So I think some of the simple things, Joe, do some simple things, basics. Get back to that, and then when you get a drive or two in, if that's what has to happen. So we'll see. We'll see if what he shows up and he's looking like. We'll see if he's still going to be an MVP candidate. I don't think anybody's taking that from Stafford right now.
No, not at this point. Stafford, your MVP, yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But Drake Mania was presented by Carson Winkatone, the real deal, New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got it all. We got B's and C's, Bruins, Celtics. Going to have to talk about this Patriots game next week against the Giants. That recap, Catone's comments. Hopefully he's cleared up the throats, good to go and ready to go next week. So make sure you're sticking around for that. But we come back, going to go with the Pats preview, talk offensive keys to victory, and so much more. No flipping.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more Corso and Catone.
Saturdays at noon.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, guys, we're going to talk a little offensive key to victory. We're going to do it in Pats preview. We're going to do it now.
Pats preview.
Shoot, I love those guys, man. It's they're gonna be all right. I think that's the big thing about those guys. They're gonna work hard and they're gonna be back, and they've done such a good job for us this year, man. I love those guys. Will and Jared, they've been meant a lot to me. I've got to know them in different ways, and it hurts. It's disappointing, man. But that's this game. That's life, and they'll bounce back and help us down the road.
Yeah, we'll put Will on IR here on the whatever it is at 4:00. I think the plan right now would be to go with Verdarian coming out of that game, and Marcus will be ready to go. Has to be ready to go.
That was Drake May and Mike Vrabel talking about the injuries to Will Campbell and Wilson on that left side of the offensive line, Mark. So, by Jesus Christ, when you listen to May talk, it was just like it sounded like the freaking curse was coming down the road, My God. But
Well,
let's start there.
they got good news on both fronts, though, Chris. It could have been a hell of a lot worse, right?
It
You
could
know,
have.
that was immediately after the game. They both spoke, but so Campbell's going to be out probably for, I'm assuming he'll be back for the playoffs. And Wilson, Chris, might be a week or two type of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So, because you talked about in the last segment, you want to see some more play action. You want to see they run play action. Okay,
yes,
well, to do that,
leverage it.
we got to run the ball a little bit. And we've not run the ball. Okay.
Can we run at this point, Chris? You are what you are, right? We'll use the old Bill Parcells adage. You are what you are. Can we run the ball at this point?
Well, so bring it back to these two injuries now, because a lot of people saying, well, you're going to lose something in the run game. Well, let me just say that the run game wasn't that great to begin with.
Well, I was just going to say that we really haven't gotten what we thought we were going to get out of the run game.
Exactly. And so losing Campbell, but I will say Campbell is one of your best run blockers. I mean, he is. And so, okay, now you got Lowe in there. Now you got Brown in there. I'm okay with Brown. Are you going to look? This is a team, the New York Giants, that gave up 237 yards rushing to Detroit. Now, Detroit does that to a lot of teams. But the Giants are one of the worst run defenses in football, Mark.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You've got to be able to run the ball in this game. Yes.
So do you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe so. So what is it? Is it? Are you going back to featuring Ramondre Stevenson early? Like, what are you doing here? I mean, we had that stretch of time with Henderson. Like, what is the balance going to look like in this game if you want to try to establish a run? What will that look like, Chris, in your mind?
To me, they were reluctant to give. They were really reluctant to give Stevenson the ball last week. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They did it down in the red zone. Like
it did nothing for them, but
the plays that Joe really loves when they,
loved them.
Run right into the line, as you say, Joe.
It's doing right up the middle 4 times in a row.
Drives them crazy. And that's the thing. Okay. So, how do you do it? What's this need to look like? Yeah, Stevenson's going to have to get the ball between the tackles a bit, and even in some zone running too. This team ran the ball well when they had a good mix early in the season. When it was a nice mix of hat on hat, ISO blocking, gap style runs, okay, versus zone runs, getting out a little wide, moving the line some. To be able to open up options for your running back to choose to create those levels that we talked about. Yes, I think it was yesterday on the show, or maybe today. I don't know. The levels of building the wall, like Vrabel talks about, and trying to create that spacing for backs to choose. That's what's going to have to happen. And in the red zone, and I know I'll save this for Coach's Corner because we're going to talk in the red zone runs and all that. But to run the ball, yeah, you're going to have to mix it up that way, and you're going to have to mix your backs up that way too. Can you get to the edge on this team though? Yes, they're fourth. They're fourth in the league, worst against the run. The Giants. Are you going to be able to get to the edge, Mark, against them? Do you think?
Well, I think, Chris, that what happens a lot of times in these games, Chris, is the Patriots are not persistent enough in trying to get to the edge with a guy like Henderson. They try it once or twice, and it doesn't work. They go away from it. And I think you're going to continue to try and mix that in, and they don't. And I think that would have worked last week at the goal line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do. It's just an odd thing because, teams. Offensive linemen like to run block.
Yeah. We thought that was going to be the strength of this team, Chris, and it didn't turn out to be this year.
No, it hasn't. But it's going to have to be. They're going to have to run the ball this week, and I think they can. I don't think they're going to have as big of a drop off as you think they're going to have, as those out there think they're going to have, because Campbell and Wilson are gone. So yeah, I mean, I think you have to do it, but I think like you say, you have to get creative in it. You have to mix it up if you're Josh McDaniels. You got to mix that zone with gap running and move your linemen some to get it done and use your tight ends in it. And
Hey, Chris, you know what?
If Tong is healthy, see, I don't know if Tong is healthy, but geez, I love when they put him in the backfield.
Yeah, and I don't think he's. Yeah, I don't know if they'll do that because he's. Even if he plays, I don't know if they'll probably limit the amount of plays he runs. So I don't know if they'll put him in on offense. But you know what, Chris, I've been noticing too, and we haven't seen it, but I think he can do it. But we don't see it. He doesn't use Henderson like they use guys like James White
No.
and Shane Vereen and Woodhead in the passing game.
No swing passes.
No, he just hasn't been used that way. And I don't know why that is. Can he not do it?
It's funny because I watched the offense go, and I look at it from the overhead a little bit at times. And earlier in the season, I was getting on May about this a few games ago. It's there. There's swing passes that are available. There's releases from Henderson coming out of that backfield, and May's just not looking there. He's just never looking there. He's never wanting to hit that little,
Because that used to be a staple, Chris. When Brady needed to pick up 6, 7, 8 yards, he would hit that swing pass, and you know what I mean?
And I'll argue to you that Henderson is a hell of a lot more elusive out in space than James White.
Oh, absolutely, positively. That's why I bring it up, Chris. 100% he is. 100%.
So it's a matter of, is the core,
That's an aspect of their offense, Chris, that they haven't tapped into.
Yeah, is it there? And if it is there, is May willing to get off the downfield reads and get to that, and see it and execute there? I mean, I think that's a big deal. I think that is something they're going to have to do. And also, Mark, talking about in the pass game, you mentioned it a little bit about you want to see more play action pass. We talked a little bit about screen. Look, when you have an interim coach, I mean, these guys are performing too. They're playing for jobs. These guys are coaching for a job anywhere, whether it be at New York or whether it be somewhere else. So you're going to see you're going to see everything they got. You're going to see trick plays. You're going to see blitzes and pressure, and they're just going to bring guys, They think May holds the ball too long. They're going to bring more heat. That's how that's going to work. We talked about the fact that we don't have receivers that can gain separation all that well. So to me, I haven't seen a lot of boots. I haven't seen a lot of bootlegs out to the right. I haven't seen them moving that pocket much.
I haven't seen them move that pocket, really, if you want to be honest about it, since that Buffalo game.
Right.
They kept moving him that night. Remember? They moved the pocket all night long. But we really have not seen a lot of that since that game.
I mean, there's something to say. There is something to be said about teams. Teams are going to take away your ability to go to the right.
Yep.
And you can do that. I mean, you can overload there and force things to your left. So that some of that's happening too.
Mm-hmm.
But you can be creative in your play calling and get that pocket moved and get them out there.
Yeah.
And Jesus, I haven't seen the screen game is pretty much non-existent now. They don't do it well. Even wide receiver screens. You just don't see slip screens.
Hey,
you don't
Chris,
see those tunnel
is
screens.
that a product of the offensive line, though, more than anything else?
I think it is, but I also think it's a product of what you got for receivers too.
Okay.
You want to be able to run that tunnel screen, that little slip screen with Douglas.
You tell me Chisholm can't run that?
No, you and I are the only ones left that think the kid's worth anything. By the way, just so you know, that's how ignorant people are.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, Chris. I think next year you're going to see people are going to say, "Oh, well, yeah, well, we always knew he had the ability when he plays next year," because I do believe he will play next year.
Well, because they're not going to pay Booty and they're going to play Douglas.
So they're going to move on from Douglas a year earlier. Like Douglas is the last year of his contract next year. They're not going to allow him to be a lame duck. You'll see in training camp, they'll move him for a pick or something. And Chisholm will take over that role next year. You watch, Chris, for next year's team.
So is it that? So is it the back's ability or the wideout's ability to be able to get, to run that little tunnel screen, to get out there and block? I mean, I have confidence in Mac Collins to be able to get out and block and get and even Diggs out there if he's not running it. So I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm going to see some more of that. But your traditional style screens that this team used to be a staple for this offense, yeah, we don't see it anymore.
We don't see
and
it
that may
anymore.
just be today's game. You don't see it across football, Mark, because defensive linemen are just too good. They're too fast. They're too quick. They can pressure and back off quickly to break up any screen.
Maybe.
Screens just don't
maybe.
work the way they used to work anymore.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to move this. So, Mark, keys to victory then for you on offense tomorrow night.
Well, so we brought up that left side of the line, Chris. So I do think you're going to have to pass protect, right? So they're going to have to prioritize pass protection, right? Especially on that left side, because we don't know what Lowe and Cam and Brown are going to give you. So with those injuries, the Giants do have a good pass rush, Chris. So and Abdul Carter, I have to think they're going to probably move him around, and Thibodeau. So I think you're going to have to do that, and I do think, Chris, we talked about play action. I think you could hit some big plays down the seam with guys like Hunter Henry and Hooper today. I think Hunter Henry could have another big game against this team, Chris. I really do. Because I think you can establish play action. I think you can run the ball on this team. And I think the tight ends are going to have another big game. And, I just think it's going to be every week, Chris, it seems like there's a different guy that steps up, a different guy that steps up. And hopefully this week, Chris, maybe it is in the play action pass game and the screen but I think the keys to victory, Chris, are going to be pass protection, because like you said, with a interim coach, defensive coordinator, they're going to be bringing it. They're going to be doing exotic things. Everyone's fighting for a job. It's going to be pass protection, Chris. It's going to be play action, and it's going to be. I think you're going to have a ton of openings down the seam with your tight ends to take advantage of.
It's it. And Drake May is going to have to set the pass protection. He's going to have to do a good job in reading what he's seeing on the line. And so those are the offensive keys to victory. We'll see what happens. But this portion of Pat's preview was presented by Corso Law Group, CorsoLawGroup.com. We come back, going to continue in preview. Going to talk defensive keys to victory and so much more. No flipping.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Corso Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Call or go online to CorsoLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Opinion that they're, professional and do a good job. I would agree with that. I think they do execute at, a pretty high level. I get frustrated at times with their zone coverage. From what I see today, they played zone coverage 76% of the time, which was the highest rate since the Browns game. I don't think they're very good in zone coverage, especially in the middle of the field. I don't think it plays to their talent, but of course you get into a situation where you might have three good man cornerbacks, in Gonzalez and Davis and Jones, but who are the other two guys manning up if you're going to play man coverage? And I think if you don't have a good answer to that, and it feels like they don't think they have a good answer to that, then you can't play as much man coverage as you want to, because I think that would be benefit those guys in the back. I think they're better man than zone. I think that the rush defense has shown some leakage. It wasn't just today. It wasn't just a Milt Williams thing. This is now 3 weeks going on now that this has happened.
Okay, so that was Boston Sports Journal Greg Bedard talking about after the game against Cincinnati, discussing some of the things you and I have been talking about, all along with this defense.
Yeah.
I disagree with him a little bit. I mean, his assessment as to why they're not running so much man coverage. You're saying, well, you got three guys that can play man, and is there really anybody else that can do it? Well, that's enough. I mean, I got three. I got an inside corner.
You brought up yesterday on Corso and Catone. You said, Mark, it's not as simplistic as these people like to make it seem. There's a lot of things going on at once. Well, explain.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're never, if you go watch a defensive play, it's not just, okay, we're all in man coverage, right? There are times when it is, yes. There are times when you get a zero coverage and everybody's in man and so on, or cover one where you got a single high safety, fine. It's simple, but then there are also times when you talk about disguising the coverage, where no, it's not really the case, where a quarter of the field may be in man. So you may have two man concepts over here where you're locked up, and the rest of the team on the opposite side is playing zone, and they got like maybe a read two look, where they're running like a triangle coverage, where you got two receivers on one side and you got your corner, your safety, and your outside linebacker are playing like a little triangle, okay, where we're in that zone, they're covering those two receivers. So there are man concepts, there's a lot of crap going on that field at one time, because if you just went and played straight zone or straight man, Mark, these offensive coordinators, these quarterbacks will tear you apart. I mean, you can't do that. You got to disguise things, and who's running it where. Like when that Williams touchdown a couple of weeks ago, where everybody was goo goo gaga over the Kyle Williams touchdown and he ran. Well, it was a nice concept that they ran. You watch the defense playing; they played man across the board with a single high safety, and that's so easy to read for Drake May. He just read that safety and threw to the guy, the crosser that was open. I mean, that's it. It's so you can't just do that as a defense. Play all man, play all zone. But I think they need to play more man concepts than they're doing. Doesn't need to look man at first. It can be catch man. I know I'm not shutting up about it, but it could be more conceptual, but turn into man.
Yeah.
Where you can unleash some of this pass rush, Mark, because at some point you're going to have to get pressure. And this kid, Dart, the other issue too is you're playing I think it's going to be Dart.
Yeah, I think it is too. He's practiced all week. It's going to be Dart.
Is that bad? Listen, is that better or worse for the Giants?
Me personally, I think it's worse. I think, I think Winston throws the ball downfield, can chuck it all over the field. I think the offense is a little more, I don't want to say limited, but for lack of a better word, Chris, like I think he runs the ball, he runs RPOs, he's not going to want to sit back there and just try to sling the ball 40 yards downfield like Winston will. That's not his game.
I will say this: if they don't set the damn edge,
Dot will have 100 yards rushing himself as the quarterback. You think Fields was running RPOs? Well, like you said, it wasn't even RPOs. It was just ROs. They were run options. There was no pass. This kid will run RPOs, and he'll run all over you, Chris.
Yeah, and that's a great example, that Jets game to take into this game, where if I'm the DC in this game, hey guys, I'm not interested in the sack numbers today. What I'm interested in is making this kid read our defense.
Yeah.
Okay, I want this kid sitting in this pocket. I don't want him getting out. I don't want you rushing upfield past the quarterback and creating that underneath lane for him to go. Okay, I want a nice 90-degree angle. I want good leverage, and I want him to sit and read. And we'll let our defensive backs play some man, and we can get some guys in his face. So when we do go play man and we can bring some heat from the inside, Mark, and get guys up in his face, we can get an edge set. But Chason and Jennings and whoever the hell else they got out there that's setting an edge, they've got to be able to do that this week against this kid, because he will get out and he will run. He's run for 300 and some odd yards this season so far?
Yeah. Yep.
So, that's something that's going to have to be done. They did run the ball against Detroit for 122 yards. I know no Scatterboo now, but they do have,
Chris, they run the ball well. They do. They have a good offensive line that can run the football. So we mentioned the last couple of weeks we have not played as well against the run, Chris. This is another week where you might struggle against the run. And I'm going to be honest with you. You mentioned man-to-man, coverage, zone. Well, they got a kid, that Wan'Dale Robinson, a wide receiver, Chris. He's emerged as a significant weapon since Neighbors has been out. And
9 catches for 150 some odd yards and a touchdown last week.
And the interesting thing about him, Chris, he lines up in both the slot and out wide. So they move him around.
He's versatile.
So it's interesting. Do you try to match up Gonzalez on this kid?
I'll tell you what, Gonzalez is going to have to play better than he has played. Because I don't think he's played all that well in the last couple of games.
Yeah. But this
he's
kid
not
Robinson,
getting a lot of
Chris,
looks, but you know.
this kid Robinson is capable of gashing you all over the field as a receiver.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, and
listen, the Giants, Chris's record is not indicative of how they've played. They've been in a bunch of games,
Yeah.
And that's despite the injuries. No Neighbors, Scatterboo,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The quarterback carousel there. Yeah. Coming in and out. And so, So again, to me, the keys in this game are, as I say, you got to set the edge better in that you got to build that wall like Vrabel talks about, play to the same level on the run game. So there's no gaps and no seams and no creases for the running backs to choose. Okay. Set the edge, make this kid sit in the pocket and pick you apart. And Gonzalez needs to play a lot better. He's got to play a lot better. He's got to step up, be a number one corner. You want to shut whatever they got. Don't get bored out there, which is kind of what it looks like sometimes. Don't give up on plays. Don't get bored. Play to the whistle. And I think you should be fine if you can do that against this team consistently, Mark. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see what happens. But Pat's preview was presented by Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Feel. Saturdays, noon Eastern. Hey, we got it all. We got B's and C's. We're going to have peace. We're going to have our Providence College Friar Minute coming up soon. Mark talked about it.
Why are you going to bring up the agony again?
Mark talked about it in Catone's comments a little bit yesterday, so make sure you check that out. But make sure you're tuning in noon Eastern on Saturdays. Corso and Catone, the real deal New England Feel. We come back, going to go in the coach's room, talk coach's corner, and so much more, and make you a little money. No flipping.
Mark, I'm serious. I think I lost my mind.
Certainly, it was an exciting show.
I want Murray.
That's
crap?
it. What is wrong with
Get him on this damn show.
you? Lost your mind tonight.
That's all I have to say.
Lost your mind.
What are you writing now?
So I'm working over here. You're talking about nonsense. I'm working.
That's why we are the real deal New England Feel. It's going to be real.
Back in with more Pats Nation. All right, guys, let's go into the coach's room. We'll talk a little bit red zone offense and things like that. We're going to do it in Coach's Corner. We're going to do it right now.
Coach's Corner.
That's Joe's favorite topic: red zone offense.
And I'm going to say also, I'm going to blame the NFL for what's happening in all levels of all levels of football, college and the pros. I watch some high school games and college games where I see quarterbacks from the one in the gun. Stop it! Stop! Get under there! Get up under there! Get up under the center.
That was Michael Holly of Boss.
Can I ask you a question, Chris?
BST tonight over there.
But Chris, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I mean, you deal with it at your level a lot. Is that a product of all these 7-on-7s that these kids do now? That when you get into the red zone like that, you're not used to running red zone offense behind center, whatever, because all these kids do is run 7-on-7s now, coming up through the ranks when they're young.
I don't know so much about 7-on-7s as the style of being in the shotgun.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
You listen, you'll never, ever see a high school quarterback on the center. Listen, I see it a little bit here and there.
You don't see them on the center.
And it's funny because when you're showing a defense film, when we're watching film on a team that has a guy that will be under center.
Yep.
They like look at that and they're like, wait a minute, where's the quarterback? I'm like, he's on the center. Like he's on the center right now. Like it's just a foreign, like
it's a foreign thing. Yeah.
That's more what it is. And so Michael Holly, when he talked about the gun runs, yeah, Mark, this is another thing. I mean, this happened in that Cincinnati game with us where we were trying to run. Look, we talked about the red zone issues. Okay, why can't they put this ball, why can't they get the ball in the end zone from, the 1 yard line? Yep. Or even in the middle of the field on 3rd and 1? They're not good in short yardage. Is it as simple to me? Because sometimes it feels like it. As you know what? Overload. Let's go bulk. Let's go let's get an unbalanced line out there. Let's get 2 tight ends out there. Let's get another tackle. Let's get Tonga in the ball. Somebody in the backfield other than Westover, which is a wasted.
That's a waste.
Roster spot.
That experiment, I think, should have ended now. Westover.
And run the damn ball.
Yeah.
From underset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I making it too simple?
No. What happened, Chris, to the old days with the Hogs, with Washington and Riggins, John Riggins, just barrel them in there. You know what I mean?
It's just because the problem is when you try to run from the gun. But by the way, college football, all that clapping. I don't understand. I don't understand how defensive fronts don't have 100 sacks a game. Because all you're waiting for is the clap, and you're gone.
Yeah.
From a defensive line standpoint, there's no silent counts. They're clapping. It comes to clap. It comes to ball.
College football, Chris, is just a different game now where these kids just run all over the field. It's like, you're right. It's you watch these college games, Chris, and then you wonder why these kids aren't really prepared when they come into the NFL. Some of them, you know.
So to me, you want to solve this. I think you get in the red zone. You get in 5-yard line in. Yeah, get on the center. Get an unbalanced offensive line. Get a hog in the backfield like Mark says, and run the damn ball. Just because running backs get ahead of steam when you have to turn and hand to a running back. Okay, that's natural for running backs to take a handoff that way.
I think that was the intent this year because they did sign a couple of fullbacks for training camp, and they both got hurt in training camp. So because I do think they wanted to go with a traditional fullback like they used to have with McDaniels, and even with Vrabel. Vrabel used the fullback at Tennessee when he had Henry, but you know.
So to me, that's something we're looking at over there. And the other thing I wanted to listen, I hear, just hear this.
On Friday, you had talked about the speed in which the team recovers from a good play or a bad play.
We need some work at that. Everybody, me included, starting with me. I mean, that's just, I'm proud to, keep coaching these guys and we'll respond. But I think, we can focus on that. Just the speed in which we recover and just these are long games, and, they're decided by a few plays. So in the end, we made a couple more than they did. That's what happens in this league. You need everybody, and you go through the season, you go on the road, and, it's tough, and nobody wants to talk about numbers and records. That doesn't mean shit.
Okay, so that's Mike Vrabel talking about. What's he talking about, Mark? He's talking about recovering from plays. There's 2 things I want to ask you. One, what's he mean? Okay. And 2, do you hear it? Do you hear him? Do you hear the fatigue?
Yeah, he's tired. He's tired. And Chris, was he referring there? Is he referring to the red zone? I don't know. That they ran 8 goddamn plays down there? Like, is that a shot at Josh? Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. We ran 8 goddamn plays. We couldn't, recover, reset, and get the goddamn ball in the end zone. Like, really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm taking it to mean that, they're carrying from play to play too much, thinking about things that happen. I don't know.
All right, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But
he's cranky.
No, he's cranky. Listen, everybody's tired. And you mentioned this at the start of the show today. This is a team that needs, I think, mentally and physically the bye week, Chris, on both sides, not just the players, but the coaches. It's been a long stretch, Chris. You come out of training camp and you haven't had a break. Okay, that little mini break, I guess.
They're like 3 months straight they've been together.
3 months straight, you haven't had a break, right? So yeah, they need to listen. Last week was one of those games, Chris, you probably should have lost, right? You played bad. You started out bad. You made mistakes. You couldn't get it in. You couldn't punch it in the red zone, but you battled through. You win the game. And now this week, you're going to play the Giants. You're at home. You're going to figure out a way to get one more win and get the hell away and get a break mentally and physically, you know, and get ready for that stretch drive now to try to get the number 1 seed, you know.
Yeah, that's it's what we're needing. It's what the team needs. It's clear. And as far
I
as
can't even believe I'm saying the stretch drive to get the number 1 seed at this point, but I don't even believe that that's where we are in the season.
nice, huh?
That doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean shit.
So yeah, listen. Like I said, I told you already. Looking at Drake May, he looks tired. He looks tired. The team looks tired. And again, everybody's tired. I get it. They're not unique. They're not unique. But like having this late of a bye, it's definitely taking its toll. And by the way, winning all that, you talk about what happened in 2007. I hate to bring it up, but you talk about what happened in 2007. You could see it
because we're playing the Giants.
Well, oh God, are we going to hear from Paul next week?
Oh, you know we're going to hear from Paul.
We're going to hear from Paul and Heated Hot. Joe, you're going to be looking out for that call or that email. He always emails. You look for an email on him.
You don't want us to hear his voice.
He's a Giants fan. You're banned from the show, Paul. You suck. We don't want to hear from you. You know, I want to hear from you if we win, though. I think then I want to hear from Paul. But he'd be relentless if we don't win this game. So, yeah, again, when you win this many games in a row, that's the other thing. It isn't just simply about they've been together for 3 months and they, the late bye. They've won what, 8, 9 games in a row or something like that?
You're almost to the point, Chris. Okay, maybe if you know you're still can get the number 1 seed, you don't mind losing to maybe Baltimore or somebody.
Right. Because that winning like that every week, it builds and builds. So this is a team that needs a break, but they need a break. But what we need is to make everybody some money out there. I beat you to it, Joe. I beat you to it, Joe. I beat you to it. So let's talk a little Sunday spread. Shall we, gentlemen? Had a couple of good. I've been doing really well with teases over the last couple of weeks.
Me too.
And so let's talk.
I had a big teaser on Thanksgiving. I absolutely loved Detroit, Dallas, and Cincinnati on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, well, Detroit screwed me. They're the ones in that tease that porked me.
Yeah, but they won if you took the points.
No, I teased them down.
Oh, you teased them down.
I teased Detroit. I teased it was I mean, I teased it down to like what the hell was the line? Whatever it was, I teased it down, and all Detroit had to do was win.
Yes, I went the other way. I took Green Bay up.
You took Green Bay. So you didn't like Detroit. You like the Green Bay.
No, I like Green Bay. No. I like Green Bay. Yeah. Because I think the coach for Green Bay, Chris, you mentioned this 3 weeks ago. I think he's fried. He's coach for Detroit right now.
I'm sick and tired of these NFL teams leaving points on the field. I'm sick of this 4th down crap now. Detroit did it all day on Thanksgiving. They left 9 points on the field.
They did.
They don't want to kick field. Nobody wants to kick field goals anymore.
No.
I mean, that's how freaking Kansas City beat Indianapolis. They took the points. They kicked the field goals. All right, let's talk about our game. 7.5 is the line. And 40 looks like 46.5 is the over-under. Low or over-under? But what do you think? What do you like?
Well, I think they're going to go into the bye with a win. I'm going to say it's going to be at home 27-17 Patriots.
Okay. Me, I have it a much closer game. So I have it at 21-17. So I don't think the Patriots are going to cover this. I don't think they're going to cover that 7.5. But I do think they will win the game, you know, and I think it'll be 21-17. It's going to be one of those games. I think it's going to be a little sloppy, Mark. I do. Yeah. So, all right, let's make these people some money. What do you think?
Well, we'll try.
What do you got?
I'm going to open it up, Chris. Falsetto. I'm going to open it up, believe it or not, with the Chargers. I'm going to lay 9.5 at home. Because I think Pete Carroll might get fired this week. This might be the week Pete goes. The old man's gonna go. They're gonna get their
so,
doors.
huh?
Yeah, they're gonna get their doors blown off. They stink.
But the Chargers, though, so irritating.
I know that.
How they
I know
play
that.
football.
I know that. But I think
I like using it in a tease.
No, I'm gonna use them in a tease as well. I'm gonna use them in a tease as well. But I'm gonna take them and actually lay the flat points because I just think the Raiders are so bad, so bad. That's gonna be my first game, believe it or not.
One of the games, one of the games I like is, and I don't know. Okay, I don't know if Baker Mayfield. I don't know if he's playing. Is he going to play this week?
I don't know. He was in a sling. Nobody knows.
All right, so take a look at the injury report. But if Mayfield plays, Tampa's at home against Arizona. Arizona stinks on the road. They don't travel well. Okay, Tampa's favored by 3.5 points. I like Tampa in this game, especially if Mayfield plays. So pay attention to that game. And then there's a couple others. What else you like?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Chris. I also like that Tampa game if Mayfield plays. I agree with you there. I think Tampa's a gift if Mayfield plays. I think Arizona is atrocious. And Tampa Bay's in desperation mode for the playoffs, Chris. Yeah. They can't lose anymore, Yeah. So I would agree with that pick.
How about I think you want a game I like that nobody's looking at, nobody's paying attention to at all. I understand that the Jets stink. I get it. Okay. But they're home getting 3 points against Atlanta. And I think these two teams are teams that are kind of playing out the stretch, in my opinion. I'm going to take the Jets this week. I'm going to take the Jets at home, getting 3 points. I like, it's not my strongest pick, but that's a game that I like. There's some other big spreads here,
Yeah, I like Jacksonville too, Chris. I don't know, 6 or 7, whatever. I think Tennessee stinks. I think Jacksonville's fighting for the playoffs. I take Jacksonville this week as well.
I get nervous about big line, but it's a 6 point. That's not a huge spread.
It's not a huge spread.
That's not.
They're gonna win by a touchdown.
But I'll tell you this: there's a couple. I'm looking at. I'm putting together a couple of good teases in my because you got Minnesota, who, by the way, JJ McCarthy is everything you and I thought he would be.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I think he stinks.
He stinks. Yep. We thought that coming out of the draft. We thought that was a wasted pick.
Seattle is favored by 11.5 at home against Minnesota.
Tease that down.
Yeah, tease that down. I think if you tease that down, get to 6.5 points, whatever you're going to get. Okay. Use that. I think you could tease our game if you like that, but a couple other bigger lines. I like what Mark said about the Jacksonville. I teased that thing down to just a pick. Indianapolis playing Houston. I'm sorry, not Indiana. The Rams at Carolina. It's a 10-point spread. This is a funny game.
Would you tease that up and take Carolina?
See, because sometimes, when you're doing that with the home team, because Carolina's got the ability to play a little bit with teams.
Yeah.
So are they going to lose by 16 points at home? So you may want to tease that up. So there's some teases.
And I'm going to say something to you, Chris. You always say pay attention to the in-game betting.
Yes.
And last week, before Thanksgiving, if you did an in-game bet and took Dallas when they fell behind against Philly, I think it was like plus 800.
It was.
You could have said, if you watched the game, you knew Dallas wasn't necessarily out of that game. You felt it. Went and said, you know what? I'll take Dallas plus the 800.
Yeah, you could feel it. You could feel it coming. Last thing I want to ask you. Buffalo is going to Pittsburgh.
Is Rodgers playing?
I don't know. I don't know if Rodgers is going to play.
I think it's going to be a game time decision, Chris.
But Pittsburgh's getting 3 at home against Buffalo. Does Buffalo bounce back no matter what?
If Rodgers don't play, you know what, Chris? Even if Rodgers plays, I mean, Buffalo's getting in desperation mode too. If they lose another game, they're fighting for their wild card lives, just like just like Kansas City. Right. How about this scenario, Chris? You get the number 1 seed, and Kansas City and Buffalo, neither one of them make the playoffs.
Baltimore too.
In Baltimore, imagine Baltimore Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City are not in the playoffs, and you're the number 1 seed.
Well, listen, Patriots fans, you got it in your lap. I mean, you got the ability to knock both of those teams out of the playoff. Not just knock them out of the division, Buffalo. You got a chance to knock them out of the playoffs. You got a chance to knock Baltimore out of the playoffs completely.
Yeah.
If you go into Baltimore and you beat that team and you show up that night. So we'll see what happens. So remember what I always tell you, bet for want, not for need, okay? And the falsetto will follow you always. So the Pats Nation was presented by Corson Catone, the Real Deal New England Field, Saturdays, noon Eastern. Next week, we're going to have our full breakdown of this Giants game, along with Catone's comments and so much more. And come back to this show next Sunday, 8 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have our bye-week blitz, Mark, around the NFL. And Sunday spread, we're going to make you some more money. Anything you bring, we will be ready. We are the Pats Nation. Enjoy the games.